Welcome to the 1111 Synchronized Podcast. Hope everyone is doing well, staying safe, and let's just have a moment of silence for the Supreme Court Justice. Rest in peace, RBG. Let's just have a moment of silence for their family and for those who are grieving. Thank you for that. There is actually going to be, I just saw it on social media. There's actually going to be, let me see if I can just find it, the National Memorial for RBG today, September 19th, 8 p.m. at all courthouses everywhere. May her memory be a revolution. So if you're close to a courthouse at 8 p.m., you just want to stop in and just send some love and peace and blessings to her and her spirit. So thank you all for being here today. I'm very grateful to have you guys here. Please just join me by just stepping into this moment by centering ourselves, by taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. So whatever's going on, there's a lot going on in the world. I'm sure there's a lot going on in your individual worlds, but right now we're here together. We are here in this moment. So let's set our intention to just be here, to just be present. Whatever has happened in the past is already over, and whatever is going to happen is not here yet. So let us just sit right here in this present moment and be grateful for one another. So if you have any topic requests, please send them into my inbox at Agent K21 Podcast on Instagram and Twitter at Agent K21. You can find me on all the social media platforms. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please send me a direct message. If you'd like to be a feature, or if you'd like me to be a feature on your, endeavors, please send those to me as well. And let's collaborate as we continue to co-create this journey of understanding, unpacking the law of attraction. So, fundamentally, we've covered a lot of stuff about the law of attraction. So the next step in my assessment would be setting intentions. Now, why is setting intentions not the first thing? Well, it is and it isn't. Because first we have to get to the foundation. So I would recommend, if you haven't heard these episodes, please check out the episode titled The Law of Attraction, episode titled Beliefs, The Power of Words, Powerful Thoughts, and Time for Some Action. Because all of those things are the groundwork that will help prepare our intentions as we continue to manifest the life we're here for. But that is the foundation. And without understanding and uncovering our beliefs, our words, our actions, and our thoughts, we may be subconsciously manifesting, as the law of attraction is always working. And I'll list those references in the description as well of what to perhaps check out as a prerequisite before setting the intentions, okay? Just to set the foundation, setting the foundation so that we can place our intentions and manifest what we are actually acquiring instead of just haphazardly. So a couple of things going on in the universe and the world at large. Despite all of the news and media, there's a universal astrological meaning of everything going on. As always, everything happening in our world here is just a reflection of the spiritual realm as we are moving adjacent to the spirit realm at all times. So fret not. What's going on here is going on in many places. So depending on where you are in the world, we just had a super new moon on the 17th of this month, 17th or 18th respectively, wherever it is where you are located. The super new moon is, now I'm not an astrologer, but I do keep up with the moon movements and just astrological movements because it's all connected. And the more we know, the more we can share and the more we can tap into the universal energies and frequencies that are always guiding us. But, so yes, if you're not familiar with new moons and full moons, it was brought to me early on is that the new moon is a time to set the intentions. And I think my soulmate, my soul tribe who put me onto that, and I've been writing my intentions and setting them ever since. So setting our intentions for the new moon. And if you haven't been aware of that, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't beat yourself up for what you didn't know. But now that we know better, we can do better. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll give some recommendations of people to potentially follow and just some ways to use these energies for our utmost, right? So the super new moon is basically a new moon is so the moon moves in phases. And when the moon is at a new moon, it's that new birth. All right, so this is when the moon is kind of in the womb of the universe. You cannot see it, but you can definitely feel it. You definitely know it's kicking, right? It's the new moon energy is very powerful. A super new moon is when the moon is closest to the earth. So we actually have 3. There's a set of 3. This is the trilogy, the trinity, if you will, of the super moon saga. So we just experienced the first one a few days ago. We have another one. So if you didn't set intentions for this one, fret not. No worries. All good. You got another chance. There's always another opportunity. There's always another door, another window opening for you. So don't worry about what's past. Always look what's ahead. And the next new supermoon is going to be October 16th. And then the final of the chapter will be November 15th. Now, the shift happens in 3s, so we have 3 supermoons back to back. So some really powerful stuff is happening and shaking up in the world. And it takes all of us setting our intentions that will move the world, And your intentions don't have to be mine. You set yours, I set mine, and that's how everything works in perfect harmony. So when it comes down to new moons and just setting the intentions, the question may be, how is this important for the law of attraction? How does this help my manifestation? Well, when we set our intentions, it's basically like putting the gas in the car. My intention is to gas up the car for the car to drive a certain amount of distance. And going that distance is what's the manifestation. But if I didn't set the intention to put the gas in the car first, I might be riding a bike at that point. Something else is going to happen if I don't set the proper intentions for where I'm headed. So when I think about intentions, it's very metaphoric for why it happens during the new moon is because during the new moon, you cannot see the moon visibly. It's still there, but you can't see it visibly. Same with when we set our intentions. It may seem like you're not doing much or it's not making a difference, but I promise you it is. And when we set our intentions, it's similar to planting a seed in the ground. We plant the seed in the ground with no witness or no visualization of what's actually happening, the germination process that the seed is going through. We don't see it, but we trust and we know that something is happening. So when we plant our intentions, that is what's going to grow. So whether we plant an apple tree, we plant, some weed, I don't know. that was me. We plant some kind of seed. That is the fruit we're expected to reap. So whatever our intentions are, whatever the fruit we plant, that's the fruit we will receive. If we plant an apple tree, we're going to receive apples. If we plant a lemon tree, we're going to receive lemons. So it's very important to know what our intentions are because that's the fruit that will be showing up in our lives. And so it requires a lot of faith and a lot of trust when we set our intentions. So for example, if we're planting a seed into the ground, into the earth, we wouldn't go dig up the seed to make sure it's growing. And we wouldn't, overwater it or, sometimes we might, but we see what happens when we are not in alignment and doing the due diligence to do our part. So when we do our part, we let the universe, Mother Earth, Gaia, we let it do what it's going to do. And we walk away and we let our intentions manifest. So I'm going to read this to you. I'm going to read this to you. Try not to get distracted by the synchronicities. But there is an app called The Pattern. I've mentioned this before. And I'm going to read a little bit of it just for people who do not have the app for, whatever reasons. But if you are interested in getting the app, it's called The Pattern. It can be downloaded in the App Store and the Google Play Store as well. So they did a write-up on the new moon. So just venture with me here. The fresh start of the new moon. These 3 days are extremely useful for envisioning how you would like the next month to go for you. During this challenging time globally, making this effort takes on even greater significance. This is the time to set your intentions. Imagine you are planting a seed. Imagine you are planting seeds, even if you must do so with limits in place. Consider your work and the unique contribution you're making to the world. Think about any changes you'd like to make. If you remain restricted in your movements or find it hard to plan for the future, this would be a powerful opportunity to take some time to yourself and be introspective. Ideally, you'll create clear and specific goals. All right, so I'm going to move a little further here. Themes to consider when setting intentions include: do you love your work and consider it sacred? Are you doing what you were born to do? And these are just some considerations. This is me talking now. These are just some considerations to think of during this time, during this next month. Some questions to consider during this season of the moon. Because as the seasons change, our intentions may change as well. So you don't have to feel limited to being restrictive or confined to only this, and this. It's your world, squirrel. So you make the rules. All right. So I'm gonna read that question again. For this particular season, do you love your work and consider it sacred? Are you doing what you were born to do? Do you feel like you're making a contribution? Are you making a difference? Do you understand the importance of having your own space? Do you see yourself as completely different from other people? If so, do others value your unique way of perceiving the world? Are you especially discerning, and is that valued? Or are you considered to be nitpicky? Are you able to connect regularly to the natural rhythms and cycles of nature and the earth? If the answer to any of these questions is no, consider the following additional intentions. Prioritize taking space away from people on a regular basis, preferably in nature. So unplug, disconnect for a little bit, come right back. Next, consider changing your job or profession if it isn't really what you want to do. Remember that this time is more about intention than inaction. If you're unable to switch careers at this time, it's still important to evaluate what you want. Believe that you really can find sacred work or improve your calling. See your ability to be discerning as not really being critical or picky, but rather having a clear perception of the patterning of your life. Intend to find others who can value your unique way of being, and don't be afraid to ask for this consideration. So those are a few things that the pattern recommends as we set our intentions for this season and this time in our lives. But additionally, how can we set intentions, and how can we use our intentions to manifest and activate the law of attraction, as it is always working? So a couple examples come to mind. If someone were to say, my intention is to lose weight. That's their intention. That's their goal. Their goal is to lose weight. Their intention, when we're trying to uncover what the actual intention is we have to be very honest with ourselves and ask the never-ending question of why. So if we ask, why does this person want to lose weight? One route may be, I want to lose weight because I want to feel better about myself. And then we can ask why again. Why do you not feel better about yourself currently? I don't feel better about myself because I don't like my flabby arms, or I don't like this particular thing on my body. Then we can uncover, so that nitpicking piece comes to play. And if we're moving from spaces where out of fear, like I've said previously, there's only two vibrations in the world, and that's love and it's fear. So if we're moving from a place out of a fear of nobody will like me, or I don't even like myself, or any type of fear, and it doesn't have to look as blank stated as it sounds. It can be very nuanced and very layered, the fears that we have. And we all have them, so there's no shame in it. But it's about being really honest about it. So a couple of things that I'll talk about in the near future is things that can block us from setting our intentions, things like fear, things like expectations. And when we're trying to set our intentions so that we actually reap what we want to manifest, we have to be very, very, very clear and very honest. Now, it might be troublesome if we are not honest with ourselves. And if our honesty we believe is honest is actually deceptive, then it can get really tricky. So what I mean by that, another example would be, say someone says, my intention is to be a good person. That sounds like, wow, that's a really great intention. That's awesome. But then we say, well, why? Well, because I want people to like me. But why does that matter? Oh, because if people like me, I'll never be alone. So the intention might have set out to be, I want to be a good person. But if they aren't honest with their shadow side of being a good person and what that looks like, it may manifest as being codependent. It may manifest as being deceptive. It may manifest as manipulating people to be perceived as a good person. It may show up in different ways like that. So it's really trying to find the root of that intention, which is why it's so important to understand the foundations of our beliefs and our words and our thoughts that lead to our actions. Because if our beliefs are hindering us, those are the point of attraction for our intentions. So someone may say, I intend to, not be depressed, but their words, their livelihood, everything around them is not reflecting that. It's going to be very hard for the law of attraction to bring those desires to us and to fulfill that for us. So when we're trying to find out what our intentions are, it's really important to ask why. That is a never-ending question that we can continue to ask in several different ways and add different equations to it as well. Because have you ever experienced someone where you're talking to someone and their words aren't matching up with what you feel, with what they're saying? That's because usually there's an intention that is not in alignment. There's some kind of discrepancy. There's some kind of barrier. There's some kind of block that is not being perceived the way they are presenting. So, and also the caveat to that also is that we all come with our own baggage. So it could also be us, our own reflections blocking us from seeing people's true intentions. And that's probably the number one cause of miscommunication. Most people think that people are just like them, or they assume that, well, because I'm like this, someone else is like this. Instead of seeing people right in front of us for who they are, we may assume that their intentions are equal in value to our own, are similar, or we may project our intentions onto them. So they might be doing one thing, but we perceive it an entirely different way, either because that's what we would do or because that's what we assume other people have shown us, or that's what we assume and expect other people to do. So that was a roundabout way of saying, get in touch with our intentions. And no matter what the answer is, own it, 100% own it. I recently had a conversation with a young man, and I said, he was telling me, I just want to prove all these people wrong. I said, that's awesome. I said, now, no right or wrong answer. I just want to know, what is it for you? So that when you find what your intention is, you can set that in stone, and you can, well, not in stone, but you can set that, you can plant that seed, and you can use that to navigate. So another metaphor for an intention would be, the intention would be the wind beneath the sails of the ship, right? So if I'm driving a course, or I'm, following the stars or what have you, and I'm navigating a ship, and I pull the sails up, the wind is setting the intention of where I'm going. I might be directing it, but where I intend to go, I don't know if that made sense. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So I'm having this conversation and, he said, I just want to prove people wrong. I said, that's all well and good. I said, what gives you the most satisfaction? And there's no right or wrong answer. Your answer is yours. But what gives the most satisfaction? Is it proving others wrong or proving yourself right? And the point of that question is to see where, in psychology, they call it the external locus of control. But where is our focus at? Is it internal or external? And, depending the environments and culture we may be raised in, one may be demonized versus the other. But I say screw all that. Find what it is for you. What gets your boat ticking? What gets you traveling in the direction? Is it motivated by outside or inside forces? And, not trying to be like other people of other people's assumptions of what that might mean to them, but really finding what it means to you. So, I'm going to leave this with you guys because I definitely, I definitely had a metaphor in mind. And I'm like, I don't even know if that makes sense now, but I thank you all for listening either way. And, I do set the intention that hopefully these things will be helpful for you. And if they're not, that they will generate more useful information, that it will point you in the direction or lead you down your own quest. So when I initially started doing podcasts, I kind of talked about this in previous episodes, is, I might have had similar thoughts by byproducts of doing a podcast, thinking to myself, well, maybe I should do a podcast. It'll help break me out of my shell. It'll be authentic. I won't even edit it. It'll just be what it is, and that'll promote more of that. But the intention behind it was really to share a message. The intention was to share a message and to hopefully help other people and bridge the gap, connecting like minds and different minds, and hopefully making people feel seen, heard, and accepted. And also just feeling less alone, feeling like you're not alone. You're not the only one that understands, the things that are going on that may not be talked about as often. So if you're weird, if you're odd, if you're just whatever, just be it completely and own it. And it's all welcomed here. So I'm going to leave a couple of things with you guys. And that is just when we set our intentions, to know that when we follow our spirit, when we follow our soul, we'll never end up in the wrong direction. There's so many mixed messages in life that we'll receive. One person may say, you got to use logic. You got to think about things. You can't just, go on a whim. Then another may say, you have to follow your heart. You have to trust yourself, trust your own rhythms. And finding the bridge between those two is what is really going to help us, because there's always a contrast. There's always a shadow and a light side. But when we bring balance and bring harmony and let the light meet the darkness and the darkness meet the light, that's when we're able to really perform and set out our true good intentions that are in our spirit. Because our spirit and our ego is always going to be in conflict with each other. So it's not to disregard one for the other, but it's to have them shake hands and become best friends and work together. So I say follow your soul, follow your spirit, because your spirit is a combination of your ego, your mind, your heart, your gut, all of it. And be very discerning, So when we're planting these seeds, just if you're interested in these super new moons that are coming up, I'm going to list out the 9 fruits of the Spirit that we all have within us. Most of us may not know that we have these, or we may believe for one reason or another that we don't, but we all do. It's up to us to choose to activate them. It's us to choose to plant them and to water them and to nourish them. So the 9 fruits of the Spirit are as this: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, humility, and self-control. So again, planning these 9 fruits of the Spirit, which are love, joy, peace, long-suffering, also known as patience, gentleness, or kindness, goodness, faith, which is believing in what we cannot see, meekness, or being humble, and temperance, better known as self-control. So as we continue to plant these seeds and to set our intentions, know that you cannot get this life wrong, and know that you have your desires in your heart for a reason. So pursue them relentlessly. Have courage. Be courageous. And be brave souls. Be brave out there. So I thank you all for listening. I thank you in advance for subscribing. Please feel free to share these messages with anyone you think may benefit for them. It's out there for you guys. So send it to your loved ones. Send it to your enemies. Send it to whomever. And we're going to continue talking about the law of attraction in upcoming episodes. So if you have another shameless plug segment here, but if you have been having any strange lucid dreams, and you want to understand what is the Spirit saying to me, I'm offering dream interpretations now. If you want to know more about how that process actually unfolds, send me a direct message, and I'll let you know more about that. Also, the sponsorship that's going on right now currently for the voting and all of that, if you heard that on this episode, you may or may not have heard that depending on when you're listening. But the sponsorship going on right now, the music playing behind that is in fact one of my instrumentals. So if you're interested in instrumentals, if you're an artist, if you're into music, I do offer music lessons and instrumentals as well, in addition to donation counseling based practices. So shameless plug. My intention is to spread the news and the awareness. It's less about me and it's more about you. So let us do all of these things together. And hope that you're well. Take care. Be safe. And sending you all good love and good energy. Until next time.